What is up, Cowboys Nation? I got to start saying Canes Nation. It's your boy Mike Tag here as well, and we got the Sunday morning crew. I'm fresh from Miami, so I was telling them I drove down at 6 in the morning. We left, got back at 6 p.m. We'll get into some of that stuff. So it was 8-9 hours of driving. My son didn't offer to help once, and I'm going to tell you some annoying stories. If you got kids. One of the very annoying story, and he's like, you didn't even say nothing. I said, well, I didn't want to bother with it, but I'm going to get into it. But as you guys are rolling in, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, share. We're going to have a packed morning show, a lot of topics to go over with some wild games yesterday. But before we get rolling, just want to check with my guys. Greg, you're ready. I already know you're ready. You're feeling it one day away. We can't wait, can we?
No, we can't, man. Look, I've been planting the flag every morning as a ritual. I'm not changing. Me and my friend Kevin, we've been watching the games up to now, so we're not changing that. We're going to keep the same thing flow going, and I just can't wait, man. 24 hours. Well, more than 24 hours, but I can't wait, and I want to get this over with, and I hope we get this championship because if we do, I'm getting on the Navarre Bridge with my flag, and it's going to be epic.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you real quick. Is it snowing there? Because on our local television, Milton looked like they got some snow. I didn't think you're too far from Milton. Did you get any of that snow that hit the?
Yeah, we got some white powder out there on our roofs and on the lawn. Nothing like we got January of 2025 when we got like 10 inches of it all over the place. But yeah, we got some white snow out there, but it'll be gone by noon.
Very nice, very nice. Jeff is in the beautiful area of Tampa Bay, so you don't have to deal. We don't deal with that in this area.
Yeah, what is that? I left my snowblower up north. My dad said, "Thank you." I said, "Here you go."
Yeah, we don't need any of that. You know, the thing I would say is we're gonna get it. We got a lot of topics to get into, but real quick on Miami, I'll just tell the story, and then we're gonna get into some fun stuff as you guys are rolling in. But I think I sent it to you, Jeff. Was talking, Uncle Luke has been he's back in the fold with my Canes, a 2 Live crew. Any guys from the old school know that. And he was talking about the humidity, and he's talking about the heat. Are they going to be able to handle this? And I get up in the morning to drive down on Saturday, and it was like 38 degrees. I was freezing. I got my jacket on, I had all this and that. But I'm just telling you this. By the time we got to Miami, it was 78. And I was sweating. We had to take all our stuff off. I said, man, I think I made a mistake. So there's something to be said for that. Now, there's another cold front coming through. I don't know if it's going to get as far south, but there was some humidity, and it's going to be interesting. But my take, and we're going to get into the playoffs, I promise, and the Cowboys, but just on the Canes and Indiana real quick. We got there right when Miami was finishing media day. And the only gripe I have is they weren't very good with the information, because I would have, had I left a half hour earlier, we would have been right there with all the Canes, because you were able to kind of go around media day. So I was a little disappointed in that. So we kind of saw them coming out, but then we saw Indiana arriving. And I'm just going to tell you guys this, man, and maybe I'm going to be dead wrong. There is a very big size difference between these two teams. I mean, it was clear as day as I'm watching Fletcher, and then I'm seeing their defense. I mean, Fletcher looks like he could be a defensive lineman for them. So it's going to be interesting how the matchups are. I always say it's a game of in the trenches, and just talking to a lot of Canes people down there. It's one thing they reiterated is like they hadn't seen a defensive line and ferocious, hard hitting defense like the Canes. And I know Ohio State is still butthurt. They're still griping, saying that we were the best team. We'd beat Miami 9 out of 10 times. We'd beat Indiana 9 out of 10 times. We deserve to be in the championship. But you guys got whooped by us, and you got beat by Indiana. So I don't know. That was my observation. I don't know, Greg or Jeff. Greg, do you see that? And then Jeff, do you see it?
No, Ohio State needs to go and sit down and just shut up. That's all. Even my brother, who's a diehard Ohio State fan, he ain't saying nothing. He even told me, he said, man, y'all took us to the trenches. It is what it is. That's it. And if anything he has to say about Ohio State is all about Ryan Day. But no, they need to sit down and shut up. Indiana beat them. We beat them. They're not the Ohio State that they used to be. Some of the players are going in the portal. And I doubt next year that they even win that conference. So Ohio State, that's what you wish you were in the national championship. Like they're going to plug and play you in there just because, but you had to prove it. We proved it. Joey Galloway is finally humble and shutting the hell up. So why don't y'all do what he does?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%. Greg or Jeff, we talked about, you and I think talked about the size of but like it's something when you kind of see the stat lines and they put all the numbers in there. But I'm just telling you, with these eyes going there, it was a visible difference. Now, I don't know if it's going to matter, but it's definitely visible difference.
So the only thing I'm going to say about that is once upon a time in a previous life, I weighed 225 pounds, but I would bench 225 26 times.
Yeah.
So that's more than most half the offensive linemen that go into the draft that are 100+ pounds heavier. So I wouldn't get too caught up with that, but if Miami has the speed and the physicality that we think they do, like traditional Miami teams in the past have had, it could be a long night for Indiana.
Yeah.
It could be a long night.
Yeah. And again, you can call me a homer or whatever, but just looking at Miami in the media day and then looking at Indiana, it almost, I got the impression Miami was very straight-faced. The players, there really wasn't a lot of emotion, or it seemed business. And Indiana, it seemed like I'm happy to be here. There's a lot of smiles, a lot of, and maybe they're loose. I mean, like I said, these are just observations of someone who's, just watching, from a distance, just seeing the interactions that they had. It's going to be a fun game. Now, I will say this, I'll be shocked if it's not 80-20 at that stadium. I'll be really surprised if it's not a heavy Miami crowd. Everywhere I went, and I went to the convention center where it was Indiana, it was Miami, they had the whole event set up. There weren't too many Indiana people rolling around. Now, maybe they're rolling in today and I'm not there, so I can't really confirm, but it's going to be a home game. And I was listening to Channing Crowder. I don't know, probably one of the funniest and one of the best guys. Well, he has a radio show down in Miami, and I wish I would have clipped it, but I would encourage you guys, clip the one where he talks about the Miami Hurricanes, because he was kind of saying exactly what I just said. Mm-hmm. And he said, I just don't see anywhere at any position opposite quarterback. I think they have the better quarterback, right? He's a Heisman Trophy winner. But he said, I just don't see man for man where they're better anywhere. And he said, in the world I live in the sport I played, if you're better at every position, pretty much, you should win the game. So he thinks they're going to whoop their ass. He bet pretty heavy on Miami. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll get into it, but I'm excited. It's just fun. It was just fun to be there, and the excitement. It's been obviously a long time. If you're a Cowboys fan, it's been, and a Miami fan, it's been a long time. So I forgot how great it feels. So I'm soaking all this in. Soaking all of it in. So we'll see what happens. But but the playoffs, and I want to get into some stuff, I don't think it was that controversial, but we'll see I want to get what you guys think. Broncos and Seattle. You saw the Broncos. I mean, I thought it'd be a dogfight. But I thought the Broncos were the better team, so they end up winning the game. But give Josh Allen credit.
Nope.
For battling back and all that. I say that, but I'm gonna give the asterisk to it. And Seattle absolutely took the 49ers to the woodshed. And I know some people don't like it, but for me, I'm really happy for Tank Lawrence. I think Tank Lawrence, I think, some of the things that happened in Dallas later, my personal opinion, and I'm not friends with Tank Lawrence, my personal opinion, him and Parsons did not get along. You saw some sideline spats. I think that was one of the driving things where Dallas took sides and they said, we're just Tank, you've been injured or whatever. We're going to move on from you. And he said that he's going to go to a team that he has a chance to win a Super Bowl with. He goes to Seattle. We all laughed at him. I did. I know most Cowboy fans said, look at this. They retweeted the video, and he knew something we didn't. But that team and that defense is it's vicious. And they beat the hell out of the 49ers. So it's going to be interesting. But before we get into the details of this of that, because we're gonna break into Bo Nix, we're gonna break into Josh Allen, we're gonna break into the excuses the Bills had with the PI, but they forget the 5 turnovers that they had. Maybe that had something to do with it too. We're gonna get into all that stuff. But what was your quick observation, Greg, of the Broncos Seattle game, and then Jeff, finish it up?
Well, the Broncos, first of all, the Broncos and the Bills game, I was rooting for the Bills because remember, ultimately, I wanted to see the Bills and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. The problem was, even before that controversial interception with Brandon Carr, which I think once he hit the ground, and even though they were rolling at the ball, after I saw it over again, I realized when he got the ball and rolled over, the momentum went. So either way they called it, I would have been good with, because it is what it is. But that was an interception. However, I told my brother, who's a Buffalo Bills fan, we kept texting back and forth, and I would call him between commercials. I said, Jim, Josh is holding that ball too damn loosely. He's not pulling it in when he's running. I said, he's going to get that ball knocked out his hand several times. And he did. And then Cook's first fumble kind of changed the momentum for a while until Buffalo came back in the second half, and they made the adjustments they needed in the second half to kind of shut the Broncos down. But you can't overcome that many turnovers and still win. And they had a chance to on two passes to Carr. When Carr caught the ball and put his arm out of bounds first, and he was in field goal range where they could have won the game. And then the interception one, if he could have just pulled it in a little bit faster, the game's over. Buffalo had their chances. No matter how you look at it, you can't put it on the referee. So I don't blame the referees for that. It's a shame that Buffalo's not going further now that Nix is out for the season. So now the Texans and New England are licking their chops, because I don't see the Broncos at home, no matter what, going to the Super Bowl now. Now let's go to Seattle. That opening kickoff set the tone.
Tone setter, yes, sir.
Yeah.
That set the tone. When they got that opening kickoff a touchdown, and then they start playing the way they play defense, I had flashbacks of the Legion of Boom. I said, this is the Legion of Boom Part 2. These boys are playing lights out. The only question everybody in the world had about Seattle, which Sam Darnold was going to show up. The Sam Darnold that showed up was totally different than what people saw at Minnesota in that first playoff game. Sam Darnold is not only on a mission, he is so focused into the zone, even with oblique issue. He's so focused in the zone, nothing's going to deter him. He's got a big test between the Bears and the Rams. I would rather see them play the Bears at home than the Rams, because I'm tired of the Rams. I'm just sick and tired of the Rams, because if they play the Rams, I'm just afraid the Rams may just edge them out. But both games were great games with the fact that I love the way Seattle just pounded the 49ers. I thought the 49ers had a chance of going in there and upsetting them. But after seeing what they did, this is the Legion of Boom Part 2.
Yeah. Jeff, anything to add to that? I know you got some thoughts on the Bills, so then I'll let you kind of segue into the Bills, and we'll go through that. But anything to add on those two games?
All right, so I'll start the other way, because I think the Broncos-Bills game probably deserves a little bit more time to discuss.
Yeah.
I picked the Seahawks because of what I saw last week of this regular season. In San Francisco, they completely eliminated anything that San Francisco wanted to do offensively. To me, that's a lot. I mean, a lot of it is because they have injuries, wide receivers, and Trent Williams didn't play that game, but they have problems on the defensive side as well. So for me, now we're going to take them and play in Seattle with the 12th man. No, I didn't see San Francisco getting out of that game. I didn't think it was going to be close, to be honest with you. I didn't think it was going to be 41-6. But to Greg's point, when I turned the game on, they were already celebrating. I said, what the? So, hey, tone setter. And then before you knew, it was 17-0. So for me, that was BTA. That's what that was.
Yep.
Come out and take your whooping.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the
So-
definition of it. I know sometimes we
Absolutely.
like to do it even like, and Irvin does it. You know, Irvin did it, beating Ole Miss. That wasn't BTA really, but that right there.
That was BTA.
That
Yes,
was.
indeed.
That
Yes,
was.
and that was similar to the whoopings I got when I was little. So,
Yo,
boy,
And you know the thing is, Jeff, with that game is, Vegas. I always go back to Vegas, and you had that injury, and things were kind of moving around. There was a lot of people that were saying, "Hey, San Francisco with the points, and that you don't know what Darnold. You're already worried about him, but now he may not play." There was a lot of people jumping on San Francisco late, thinking, "Hey, I'm going to bet the money line because $20 gets you 70 or whatever it was. It was a pretty good payout." I mean,
I thought it was kind of messed up the abdominal injury for Darnold because they're like, "Oh, he hasn't practiced since Thursday." Well, I mean, truthfully, he probably shouldn't have if he had any niggling injury. So, but I'd have been hard pressed for him not to play that game. But and then with Kittle's getting hurt too, the game before, come on, man. Like that to me, that was a no-brainer. So
all right, well, Jeff, I'm going to let you pick. Do we want to talk about Bo Nix's injury first, or we want to talk about Buffalo and the impact this game has on them and kind of where they go from there? What do you think?
All right. Let's go Bo Nix first because, again, I got some smoke for the latter topic.
All right. So my first thing is, and I want to let you respond to anything and add. I thought the Bo Nix cheap shot. It was BS. Joey Bosa. That's what ended up getting him hurt. Was the late hit on the quarterback? It was blatantly late. It didn't need to be, and it just shows the undisciplined nature of the Buffalo Bills in that defense because they had that PI that got him off the hook. Right? That there was another penalty that got Bosa off the hook. Otherwise, that would have been really more emphasized on him. So I just didn't like it. And now Bo Nix is out. And I would temper the people that say the Broncos aren't going to make the Super Bowl without Bo Nix. Bo Nix is the bus driver of that team. Their quarterback, and I'll butcher his name, Stidham, if I said it right. He's a veteran. Sean Payton is a very good offensive mind. He could put a game plan together to get them going. Understand, the Broncos live and die by their defense. That is number one. Now, going against the matchups, I think, and talking to my brother's a Broncos fan, he would much prefer New England somehow win. He would rather see New England than the Texans because of the Texans' defense would really create a problem for that quarterback. I don't think they're going to win the Super Bowl. I think if they got Seattle would just beat the hell out of them because they got the offense to do it. But to me, New England, I'm not sold on New England. The Texans have the defense, but the offense is not very good in the quarter. They're kind of wishy-washy. So I would pump the brakes on just writing Denver off because they're going to be at home as well. But anyway, Jeff, what do you got? And then Greg will follow.
All right. So just to add real quick on that one, the thing that really got me about that, it wasn't even the cheap shot. This was the quarterback rollout to the left. Like, why would you run that play?
Yeah, I don't know why they did
Why
that.
would you run a play? This is the stuff that drives me insane that some of these coaches are calling these plays. I get it. He can be elusive, but he's not a running quarterback. And you had him roll. It was a design quarterback run to the left.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he gets hurt. To me, there's not enough focus on that play call. And
I didn't understand why wouldn't you run the ball? Like I was screaming to the
you got to run it back.
Run the damn ball. Just run the ball and just I don't. Yeah, I didn't.
You have running backs for a reason.
Yeah.
Hand that ball off. That running back's going to do everything that he could have done right there, probably a little bit better because I think he ended up losing yards because there was nothing there.
He did. Yes.
Why in the world would you put the most important player on the field in harm's way? That was such a bad play call. So when I started hearing rumors about this last night, I said, no way. I said, it had to be that play. Sure enough, that was a terrible play call. And Sean Payton isn't getting the flack that he should have for that play call. You got running backs in the backfield. Hand that thing off, let them do what they do. But now your quarterback's out. And, everyone's going to feel bad for the Broncos. But to me, again, that goes on the play call. That was a terrible play call. It's unfortunate for Broncos fans. It's just a bad situation.
Do you subscribe to you writing them off, or do you think they could beat either one of those two teams at home with the backup?
I think with their backup, I think Jarrett Stidham I think he can be solid, right? I think he can be a game manager. I think he has a better chance against the Patriots because, especially defensively, they're not as dynamic.
Yeah.
But the Texans will show him so many things when they're walking 7, 8 people up into the box, and then they drop 4 or 5 of them back into coverage. That I think that's going to confuse someone who hasn't had regular reps for an entire season, right?
Yeah.
That's going to be extremely painful. And Sean Payton has shown, even with Bo Nix, he was very conservative. Like, hey, I'm just going to throw it out to the running back out of the backfield. He wasn't really trying to necessarily stretch the field once they had to lead. I felt they played really conservative. So for me, I agree with your brother. A better matchup for them is the Patriots. I don't think they want to see the Texans defense because the fact that they put up 30 against Pittsburgh and their quarterback fumbled the ball 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And still only gave up 6 points. There's something to be said about that. So I would not mind for Matt Burke to be our defensive coordinator next year. Yeah. That's all I'll say about that.
What do you want? We're going to get into some of that. What do you want to say, Greg, on Bo Nix and just kind of the Broncos and all that kind of stuff?
Well, first of all, if Sean Payton did make that call, yeah, that was kind of a bad call that late in the game. What unnecessary, especially because of field position. But you got to remember, Bo Nix is like Jackson Dart. You can call a play, and it could be a play where you got the leverage of either handing it off or running. Bo Nix loves to run that ball. I saw some plays when earlier in the game with Buffalo, when Bo Nix took off. I'm like, the running back had the right side wide open if you give it to him. So Bo Nix and Jackson Dart are alike when it comes to running. They got to be protected from themselves. I don't know that he had the option of, if you see it, you could take it, but otherwise give it to the running back, and he decided to run it, or that was this specific play call. If it was specifically the play call, it was a setback kind of for Peyton. But if it was a play call where Bo Nix can make his own judgment, that's Bo Nix. He's going to run the ball every time. And
he's not Cam Newton, though. That's the thing.
No,
These guys are not Cam Newton.
He's not. But just like Jackson Dart, you can't tell him otherwise. That's why they're hoping Harbaugh will kind of suppress some of that. But here's the thing. What New England and the Texans bring, I agree. That defense on the Texans will be a nightmare for Denver. But I think whether it's the Texans or New England, I think New England's defense is enough to do whatever they got to do to Denver because of Stidham. Stidham shouldn't even be in the league as far as I'm concerned. I think Stidham has been signed just as a placeholder because they are not counting on bringing in an effective backup because of Bo Nix, and they were counting on all their chips that Bo Nix is going to stay healthy regardless. Stidham shouldn't even be in the league. He should be somewhere out coaching or in the Canadian Football League. I don't see Stidham managing the game. I don't see Stidham bringing anything to the Broncos that's going to help them get in the Super Bowl. They're going to need Texans or New England to make a bunch of drastic mistakes. And the offense between the two that's more mistake-riddled would be the Texans with Stroud. But even with that, the defense will make up for it. So I don't think Denver is going to the Super Bowl, and I think this situation with Bo Nix has sealed the deal for either the Texans or New England getting the Super Bowl. And now I hope it's the Texans and Seattle. I'm tired of New England, and I don't want to see that again.
Well, boy, a lot of hate to that guy. I don't even know why. But I mean, at the end of the day, Bo Nix, the way they run their offense, the reason why I say that they could beat either one is very conservative passing. They're not asking. I mean, Bo Nix doesn't sling the ball. It would be like, if I don't know who the quarterback, if Drake May or one of the, or who else is in the, I don't even know who else is in the playoff, the Rams, Stafford, someone like that, they're slinging the ball around. I don't know. I'd be a lot more concerned, but Denver's defense is usually so damn good. And I think the matchup with New England is a very good matchup for the Broncos on so many levels of the defense and the offense, because I don't think the Patriots offense is that good. They beat a lot of bad teams, so we'll see what happens. But I wouldn't write them out. Now, I don't think that they're going to beat a team in the NFC team unless it's the Bears somehow make it there. I don't think they'd beat Seattle. I don't think they'd beat the Rams. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But looking over to Buffalo, and I know Greg, you got your brother's a Buffalo Bill fan, and I talked to a few Bills fans this week before the game, and I said, let me just put this out there to you: if you guys lose, you're going to fire your head coach?
Yep.
And some said no. I say yes, and I preface this, and I got into some conversations on Twitter about it. It's not that I think he's terrible. Well, I'm not a big fan of his, but it's not that I'm blaming all of this on him. But sometimes it's just you kind of reach the ceiling of where you're going to go, and a change is needed. I mean, you kind of saw it. You see a lot of these teams where you just couldn't get over the hump for whatever reason. I mean, Dungy had trouble in Tampa, and then they held on, and they had to make a change. And then even the Colts were having trouble with Manning, and then they bring Dungy in. And Dungy was the same guy in Tampa, but he goes over to Indy. So sometimes
the Steelers just did it.
And the Steelers
just did it.
Yep.
The Ravens did it.
The Ravens,
yep.
The Ravens did it. And so I think it's not on him as a coach, but again, I'm not a huge fan, but I think maybe it is. And I would think for Josh Allen is, I felt for him just as a competitor, right? I mean, he's obviously taken a lot of the blame, and he's, this and that. He's their offense. He's a great quarterback. There's nothing, I'm not knocking him. I think the media just, kind of rides him too much. Because I saw even like LaShawn McCoy is giving him grace, but not the same ones he gives other quarterbacks we know about, right? He's trying to, it is so obvious the bias that is made towards Josh Allen. It's kind of sickening that but other quarterbacks don't get that same level.
Woo, boy, I see this completely opposite, but go ahead.
Oh, you do? Okay. Well, that's why I want you to take. So, Greg, do you want to start with what do you think for the Bills? Should there be a change, and what's your thoughts on this team?
I told my brother when they lost that game, I told him, I said, Jim, McDermott's gone for the exact reasons you said. I said McDermott's gone, but I told him, I said the only saving grace for McDermott is if management and the ownership says, if not for Carr's arm going out of bounds, that interception, which they look at as controversial because McDermott did a press conference and said, I'm tired of this. I'm all in for the Bills. We should. If you're
talking about Brandon Cooks, let me help because I think you keep getting cards. Brandon Cooks. Brandon Carr. You
Brandon
Carr.
Cook. But if not for Cooks, arm being out of bounds and that controversial interception, Buffalo wins the game because they came back in good fashion. Buffalo wins the game. And I think if anything that the ownership looks at to give him one more year, just one more year, it'll be how that game ended on that interception, which changed the momentum. But other than that, I think general management is sitting there looking at, you know what? It's run its course. This is another Jason Garrett. This is another Harbaugh. Tomlin went out on his own graces. It's time to change it. We still have the nucleus of the team. We need to get some wide receivers, and then we'll move forward. But Josh may be the saving grace 1.0 to McDermott getting another year because Josh was reckless, absolutely reckless with the ball when he was running. And when he was running, I was nervous for him. So McDermott, if he gets fired, I won't be surprised. If he stays, it'll only be for 1 year, and I won't be surprised. But they're going to have to do something with Josh being so reckless with that ball because his recklessness caused them to It was a big factor in causing them to lose the game in spite of their comebacks. And even if they went to the next level, I wasn't sure that they were going to make it to the Super Bowl because of his recklessness. And if they made it to the Super Bowl, I wasn't sure they were going to win because of his recklessness. They've got to rein that in on Josh Allen. Otherwise, he's going to be a liability every time.
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. He takes a lot of bad sacks for major losses.
And the way he holds the ball.
Too long. I know, Jeff, you're very passionate about Josh Allen.
I'll preface it with this. In a perfect world, to me, and I think it's easy, Josh Allen is a top 5 quarterback by any estimation. He's a top 5 quarterback. He's a quarterback that most teams in the NFL would love to have on their team. But to me, the excuses have been built in for him for weeks and weeks and weeks. And I'm tired of hearing it because other quarterbacks have not received that grace. So first, and the most obvious one is Lamar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't, if Lamar gets killed all the time, labeled as a playoff choker, what has Josh Allen done that what has Josh Allen made it to the Super Bowl? Nope. Same thing, right? Mm-hmm. But everyone's apologetic. They say, oh, it's about he doesn't have talent around him. Well, I would love to be able to sit here and talk about the roster of Buffalo and what they don't have. I'd love to sit here and talk about the coaching on Buffalo. But the reality is he deserves every single bit as much smoke as Lamar gets, as who you guys love to criticize, Jalen Hurts. Right. And Jalen Hurts has a chip. Let's not forget, Jalen Hurts has a chip. So why is it 8 seasons now, Josh Allen in the league?
Trent Dilfer and Jeff Hostler have chips as well. So is Nick Foles.
I get it. All I'm saying is, but in the Super Bowl, Hurts wasn't a liability.
He wasn't the reason they won, but he wasn't a liability.
In the Super Bowl, right? He wasn't a passenger, right? He played. Yeah. My thing is Josh Allen hasn't even made it there. And this was the season. You got no Patrick Mahomes. You got no Burrow.
Yeah, no Burrow.
You got no Lamar. Lamar. And to a certain extent, Justin Herbert deserves the same smoke.
Oh, that's the one that
he's another one that's kind of quiet, that has continually underachieved. So come on, I'm a simple person. I just need consistency. Yeah. If you're going to kill Lamar, and I think Lamar's last 3 playoff elimination games, you had an Andrews fumble or an Andrews drop pass that all he had to do was fall backwards into the end zone.
Yep.
You had Zay Flowers going in for a touchdown and got stripped. And I forget what the third one.
The kick.
Yeah.
So it was the kick.
But he gets all the smoke for being a playoff choker, even though his quarterback rating, there was one game that was bad. But the other 2, I think his average quarterback rating in those 3 games is 101.5.
They always do that with the quarterbacks. I mean, it's
but they're not doing it with Josh.
But no,
and unfortunately for him, and it's the reason why I'm going for him a little bit, is because of all the apologies that they've made for him leading up to this game. Oh, he doesn't have a true number 1. Oh, he doesn't have this. Oh, he doesn't have that. At some point, you get to the point where it's like, dude, I'm tired of the excuses for the guy. You are the biggest player. You are, and rightfully so. But he had how many picks?
He had 2 picks and 3.
He had 2 picks. He had 3 fumbles, 2 fumbles lost.
Yeah.
That, and I'll take one of those picks, the one with Cooks. Okay, I won't put that on.
Right.
But the fumble before halftime was so egregious and so bad. Yeah. Because you're trying to make something happen out of nothing, and you're carrying that thing like your name is Mike Vick, like it's a loaf of bread. Yep. And it gets popped out, and they kick a field goal to extend the lead. And it was 20-10. Now, I'll give him credit because coming out of the third quarter, them boys played, and he marched them up and down the field. Great. I'll give him credit for that. But you didn't win the game, and you had every opportunity to win it, especially with the field being clear like it is. So I need to see the same playoff choker rhetoric towards him that Lamar gets. I just call it even. Just call it even. But I don't even see that. They make more excuses for him than they do. And look, they gave him an MVP, which he shouldn't have gotten.
Yeah.
Because Lamar had one of the greatest seasons from a quarterback that you've ever seen in your life. And Lamar was first team All-Pro. But somehow Josh is the MVP, right? And then if we continue down like Buffalo, I get it. It's a hardworking area. They appreciate people that come to work and work hard. Josh Allen, to me, and I think he exhibits that. So there's a part of me that likes him, but the reason why I have a problem with him is because all the media excuses that they have with him. Yeah, and I don't see the same things being levied at him as I see other quarterbacks. Not to mention, I'm old enough to remember when quarterbacks running the ball and getting rushing touchdowns was seen as a negative.
Yeah.
Right. You're not a quarterback. You have to be able to play in the pocket. You have to be able to read defenses. You shouldn't be running the ball. I'm old enough to remember all that because that wasn't that long ago.
Right.
How much was Lamar criticized for how much he runs? But now Josh Allen has all sorts of rushing touchdowns, and it's great. It's fantastic. Yeah. I'm just saying.
That's like Steve Young and Randall Cunningham. I mean, that's what killed Steve Young early on in his career. Randall Cunningham never got, the respect that he probably should have got as a quarterback until he went to Minnesota,
Right.
So I
just feel like he deserves the same smoke and he doesn't get it.
Well, but the media, Jeff, the reason and you're right, you're absolutely right. I feel like the reason why he doesn't get the smoke that Lamar gets is simply because the media has fallen in love with the darling Buffalo Bills, and they want to see Buffalo finally get to a Super Bowl. They've been 4 times. They've never won one. And I think the media is the one that's perpetrating this. Now, get this, it's the media. And the media really wants to see Buffalo finally get there and win one. And you're right. It's an old mentality among media that is unconsciously biased about a running quarterback versus a pocket quarterback. And now that these guys are running the ball more, they forget about that. But that unconscious bias is still there. That's why they don't see Lamar the way they see Josh Allen. That's there. It's permeated from decades. But the media is so fixated on Buffalo finally getting to a Super Bowl that I think once they got on that train, their focus just stayed directly on Buffalo. And that's why they don't give him the smoke that he deserves. My brother goes back to when Buffalo used to stand up on the helmet. That's what he started like Buffalo back when O.J. Simpson was on there. And he is a diehard Buffalo Bills fan. And Jim will tell you that Josh Allen is their best asset and their worst asset because of how he handles that ball and how he, out of nowhere, just throws the ball sometimes anywhere and he gets lucky. So
I'm never going to say he's their worst asset. He's the best player in that team, clear. And to me, top 5 quarterback by any estimation.
Yeah.
But and everything that I said about Josh, because I actually like Josh. I think he's a good player. I think he's shown that he's a good player, and he's shown that he can be that false multiplier and carry the team. Justin Herbert deserves way more smoke than Josh Allen does, and you don't ever hear anything about him. Talk about someone who's habitually underachieved and has not been able to take his team forward. He should be the poster boy. Unfortunately,
they accept that with Justin Herbert. That's why he ain't gonna get the smoke because they feel like it's not even worth talking about him how many times he done choked. And Justin Herbert's one of those players. He's got all the potential, but he's, as far as the media, he's irrelevant to them. He's irrelevant in a conversation because they know Herbert is who Herbert is. But the Josh Allen situation is exactly what I was talking about. They want to see Buffalo get to the Super Bowl so bad that they're fixated on it, and Josh can do no wrong. But Josh, I'm telling you, Josh is the reason, even though he's the best player. I love Josh because between the three brothers of mine, one Pittsburgh, one Buffalo, and me Dallas. Me and the Buffalo brother, we always root against my brother Mike in the middle, who's a Pittsburgh fan. But Buffalo, that's why I always root for Buffalo unless they play us. But Josh, there's times in these playoffs where Josh has done something key. Other players have too, but Josh has been reckless with the ball that has cost them late in the game. And they're going to have to, somehow they're going to have to rein that in with Josh. He's got to be a little bit more disciplined. Don't tone his game down, but he's got to be a little more disciplined with that ball. Because every time he runs, it ain't like this. It's like this. And he ran that ball and he got about 15 yards. And what happened? All they did was knocked it out his hand like that. And you got to pull that ball in, Josh. Otherwise, I just don't feel that if they won that game, I really don't feel that they were going to win the next one. And if they made the Super Bowl, they're going to win it because of his recklessness with the ball. And if they don't rein that in, you can talk about
just let's because we could talk about Josh Allen all day.
But can I just say one closing remark though?
Go ahead, Jeff.
I do think that he's going to win a Super Bowl in this time.
Yeah.
Right.
I think I think they need a new coach, and I think they need a new direction. And I would just say, so I'm going to leave it at this, Jeff, because you didn't get a chance to answer because you're so passionate about Josh Allen. Would you make a change in Buffalo? I mean, do you think they need a new voice, a new leader? Do you think it's kind of run its course and you've kind of reached the ceiling as a team? No. You can't move your players. So you're going to keep him?
No. So I think if they had lost last week, yes. The fact that they lost this week, I think they're going to go. I think their OC is like Joe Hardy, something like that. I think they're going to make a change at OC. But I also think they may actually go out into the market and get him a legit number one receiver. So, because if this team had that legit number one receiver, I think we're talking about a different result from yesterday. And I think we're talking about Buffalo. Hey, nobody wants to see Buffalo. Yeah. Right? Regardless of what seed they are, nobody wants to see them because you got Josh Allen, you got the leading rusher in the league, and now you have a legit number one. Like, for me, if I was Buffalo, come trade deadline, I would have probably been on the phone with the Cowboys and been like, hey, what would it take to get Pickens?
Mm-hmm. Oh, no.
Right? I'm just saying, get a legit number one. Right?
A.J. Brown. I mean, you might even say A.J. Brown, who's unhappy in Philly, you know. Yeah.
Look, I don't think they want AJ because they just saw what happened with Diggs before they sent him out, right? So they probably don't want AJ. But I'm just saying, if Josh had a legit number one, because everything slows down in the playoffs, everything's tighter, there's a lot more pushing, pulling, and everything. You need that legit guy who knows, hey, at any given time, I'm gonna be open. Even if you don't think I'm open, I'm open. He doesn't really have that right now.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a prediction, and I'm going to say it now, and you can keep this show so you can remember this. Buffalo will win the Super Bowl next year. It's their first year in their new stadium. They're going to win the Super Bowl next year. Listen, all those teams around it that we talked about before, the Denver, the Burrows, the Mahomes, the Herberts, the Lamar with the new coach and all that, next year, those teams are not going to – they're going to compete. But those teams are not going to have the nucleus that they're going to need to take it to the next level. Buffalo will win. Well, no, Buffalo will get in the Super Bowl for sure next year. Mark my words saying this. They will be in the Super Bowl next year. Nix will be a different person because of the ankle. He'll recover from it. Mahomes, they're going to be rebuilding. Burrow's situation is going to get ugly. It's going to get ugly. Herbert's not going to get any better. And Jacksonville is going to go right back to where they were before this season. And Lamar, because of the new coaching staff and everything, I don't think that's going to work out in their favor. Buffalo will get in the Super Bowl next year. Mark my word.
Yeah. No, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I think you're seeing a young changing of the guard, with these quarterbacks. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the AFC. I thought real quick on the Ravens, I thought it was interesting their owner, which I think he's probably right.
He's flamboyant, man.
They asked him about Lamar Jackson and some of the key players on the team, how much input are they going to have on the new coach? And he said they're going to have input, but the final decision's with me. So they, but that's the way it should be. I mean, you can't, if you can't let players hire the coaches, and then I've seen it happen, good and bad. I've seen it happen in Miami, and Greg, you probably remember it. All the players wanted Larry Coker, and why did they want Larry Coker? Because Larry Coker was just going to do whatever they wanted. Now they had the talent to win. Larry Coker. He
was a chaperone, man.
You just sit on the side. The players ran practice, but then what happened is you had poor recruiting. You had the seventh floor crew. You had a lot of trouble. You got a lot of things that happened, and that university just went absolutely south quick. So I do agree that you got to have a separation. You got to have a buffer in between. You can't let the players. They should have influence. Lamar Jackson, he should say, if they're interviewing coaches and they're talking offensive philosophy, you should have some influence to say, hey, this does fit, or
you're better.
So
right?
Yeah, I agree. But yeah. So anyway, well, we're gonna switch gears, and then we're gonna finish up with some of the games today. But we did have some, big news in the NFC East. So John Harbaugh, was let go, or mutual, whatever way you want to look at it. I don't know. But with the Ravens, was there, I think, 19 years, won a Super Bowl. Teams are always in the playoffs, always competitive, yada, yada, yada. Signs a 5-year, $100 million contract with the Giants. What kind of impact do you think he's going to have? I mean, me personally, I think he's going to bring some stability, right? The organization has had like 10 of the last 12 years. I think they've lost 10 or more games or something crazy like that, which the Giants in our day was always a perennial powerhouse for so long. They do have young talent. You got Neighbors. You got Scattaboo coming off an injury. You got Jackson Dart. Their defensive line is pretty damn ferocious. I mean, they do have some pieces for him to work with, but he couldn't get it done for a long time, with the Ravens. He's been there a long time. So, I mean, what is your expectations for him, and how much impact do you think he's going to have on the NFC East and elevate this maybe to be the NFC beast again? I don't know. Greg, what do you think?
He will. And at first, when I heard, I was nervous. I was like, oh, Lord, he's coming to our division, more competition. But then I thought, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Because when Jerry saw that, I'm sure his tonsils fell to his gut, because he knows Harbaugh will bring the fire. Harbaugh is going to make the job. They got the nucleus. They got the players. Now all they need is a coach like Harbaugh. And you better believe, with $100 million, he's going to have a little say in draft. He's going to have a say in personnel and staff, because that GM for the Giants, I'm shocked that they didn't send him out the way.
I'm surprised he's still there. Yeah.
I'm shocked they didn't send him out the way too. But Harbaugh is going to make a huge difference. And why do I like it? Because now Jerry sees the competition from a coach who is a successor coming into the Giants. Jerry knows, oh, hell, I know good and damn well my management skills are nowhere near what they need to be to try to set this team in motion to compete against Harbaugh. I need to wake up. Jerry said something this week about, uncovering every rock, blah, 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 to get the best person we can get. Because if this is my last decision to bring in somebody like this before I move on, I need to make sure that it is the best decision I've ever made. It's almost like this is the second hint this season about him really considering moving aside.
The only time he's moving on is when he's moving on up to the upper room.
That's right. The upper room.
Maybe he sees that with his health. But I like Harbaugh coming to the Giants because now that is sending a signal without the Giants saying it to Jerry that if I'm going to compete against the Giants with a coach like Harbaugh, I need to make some changes within me immediately because what I've been doing is not going to make it. When you got Sirianni over there, you got Harbaugh, man, Jerry better wake the hell up big time because the Giants are going to be far better, not a little better, far better next season than they are now. And if Jerry doesn't wake up and say, I got to make a drastic change in my management style or either pull away because Harbaugh is going to bring the heat. He's going to make that team so much better from that coaching standpoint, from that motivation, that drive. He's going to bring the dog out of the dogs they got. They got the nucleus. They got the players. They were just one coach like him away. That was the best pick the Giants made on a coaching staff and put all your money on it because he is going to make that division way tougher next year.
Yeah. Look, hey, I agree 1,000%. He is the perfect coach for that team, especially since they have a lot of young talent, but the older talent that they have, the more seasoned talent, he knows how to hold them accountable to the level of play that he expects.
Yeah.
Young coach can't do that. Young coach still trying to find his way. But he also knows how to deal with young players and help them develop and get the best out of them. So seasoned coach, I thought it was telling that they signed him to a 5-year deal. Like I thought if they sign him to a 3-year deal and it goes bad, they could let him go after one season, maybe 2 at the most. But the fact that they signed him to a 5-year deal, their chips all in the table.
Yeah, and big money. They're not moving on.
Absolutely.
Situation.
Right. So for me, it's a problem because he was the last person I wanted to see go be the Giants coach.
Yeah.
They have young talent. They have veteran guys that he's going to be able to uplift them and hold them to a level of accountability. That's not what I wanted to see from that team. And side note, they could go, they theoretically, they could win the division next year.
Yep, that's right.
They have that much talent in places, assuming Malik Neighbors comes back healthy. Scatterboo comes back healthy. I actually think that they may make a play for Jeremiah Love in the draft. They may move back and get him. So they have that dynamic punch. And sorry, Canes fans, but I actually think Washington's going to get better too because I think they're going to draft Bain.
Yeah.
And, Dan Quinn could do some things with that. So I hope that Jerry is looking at the markers that are going on in the NFC East. This was the last coach I wanted to see end up in New York. I think Washington, healthy quarterback, healthy Jaden Daniels, and some roster upgrades is a problem. I think Philly is going to have addition by subtraction because once they let the receiver go,
AJ.
I think that locker room gets that much
better. Let me ask you that real quick on the Eagles because inner rumblings been reported by multiple sources that there is a lot of, I don't want to say, not happiness, malcontent, whatever you want to call it, with Jalen Hurts and some of the players, some of the organization, to the point of they may potentially get another draft a quarterback just to have something. I mean, do you think the problem is as simple as just getting rid of A.J. Brown, or do you think some of the issues could run deeper, right? They got rid of the coordinator, so they did that. So don't think Hurts is a good enough quarterback. I don't know.
He may not be, but all I know is he's shown that he can win the chip, right? With the team that you have in place, with the players around him, he's shown that he's able to win the chip. So from that perspective, he's put it on the field and shown that. So if they were to let him go, I mean, they did the same thing to Carson Wentz, right? They ripped up that contract quick and took that hit.
Yeah.
So it's not beyond them to do that if they have someone in the bullpen that they think can lead the team.
Yeah.
But I think A.J. Brown was the first one I think he needs to go.
And I mean, they're going to have to trade him. I think the salary cap impacts like $70-something million.
But I mean, it's addition by subtraction, right? You need a little piece in that locker room.
My football fanatic doesn't agree with you either, Jeff. And, he says that's counterproductive because Hurts needs him to succeed. Getting rid of AJ it's not helping the cause. So
yeah, but if you keep AJ, okay, keep AJ then. There is more to a team that the continuity and everyone moving in the same direction. Like it's like watching rowing. Everyone has to be rowing at the same cadence, at the same speed, in the same direction. Mm-hmm. If you're not, you're always going to have that imbalance.
That's the Cowboys defense you just described.
There you go. So, I mean, because they literally just Adams just going all sorts of different directions. Yeah. So if you look at the NFC East as a whole, Philly needs to retool.
Yeah.
Washington needs to upgrade in talent. New York just got the coach that really is going to, in my opinion, cultivate the atmosphere that you need for that team to be successful. I hope Jerry is reading the tea leaves. Mm-hmm. I hope Jerry's understanding, hey, this is about to be a hell of a division to try to get it out of.
Yeah.
And there's no gimme games anymore.
But I think it's good. I think, like Rick said, I mean, iron sharpens iron. I think having the division more competitive helps. I think it does help. You see what's going on in the NFC West, and you had 3 teams in there. I think it does help all of them, as long as they do what you say, right, Jeff and Greg?
Look, and we got a blueprint. We got a blueprint. We talked about what we need to do. And if we're going to talk about that, I'll wait. But there's things that we need to do that.
Well, we're definitely going to get into that. But as far as, with the division and seeing the way it stacks up, Harbaugh, the part I definitely agree with is the Giants have the pieces on the roster now. Now they got to make some moves, but the core pieces that you want, defensive line, offensive line got better. Quarterback, like you said, with a running back, I think Scadaboo is he's going to be your Mike Allstott. He's going to be your, Lorenzo Neal. He's going to be kind of like that guy that's going to just hurt you and finish
Lorenzo
off.
Neal.
You need to have another running back with him. I don't think he's the bell cow, but they've definitely got some pieces. They just don't have direction, and I think Harbaugh is going to give them the direction. Jeff, anything to add before we move on?
Nope, that's just about it. He was the best coach for them to hire. And they show that they're all in that 5-year contract. So,
yeah, Greg, anything to add?
Well, and they're going to bring in another running back, I'm sure, and they're in the perfect position in the draft because of the woes they had this year. But Hurts, I don't see them getting rid of Hurts because Kevin Patullo is the one they got rid of, and the big issue there was
he fell on the sword.
Well, true, but they were saying that he wasn't calling a lot of plays where Hurts could use his leg.
They said he wasn't calling a lot of plays, and I'm just giving you inner rumblings. I don't work for Philly. I'm not a fan of them. I don't listen to them, but I did hear a lot of people like on their shows and stuff. They didn't call plays a lot for Hurts because they don't have confidence he can make them. That's what they said.
If that's the case, that's the case. But I just don't see Philly getting rid of Hurts this season. I do see them possibly bringing in another quarterback, and Sirianni ain't gonna want that to get rid of Hurts. They will get rid of AJ. They got to make some pluses because they did lose some key defensive players last year. The defense kept them in the games this year. They got to make some upgrades in order to go to that next level. Get them a offensive coordinator. That's probably like Kellen Moore. Get somebody like Kellen Moore, who was there before, a gunslinger, and then another wide receiver. And then they'll be okay. But in our division, the way you look at it, unless Washington implodes and they don't make good draft picks and they keep going out getting veterans like Washington did years ago when they got Deion Sanders and all these old players. Unless Washington implodes and Jerry stays the way he is now, we could be in last place next year. We could be in last place next year because of what's going on with Harbaugh and now Philly where they are. And unless Washington implodes, we can be in last place. So we're going to need to do a lot of work. Jerry's going to have to do some soul searching. And if he does some soul searching and give us a big announcement before the season starts and loosen the cannons, then maybe we got a chance. But right now, I didn't like when I heard he was coming to the Giants because I was hoping he stayed in the AFC. But when he did, and I gave it a day and I was thinking about it, I was like, you know what? Good. Sometimes we need something like that to wake up this wannabe king of all things Dallas Cowboys, so he can wake up and probably say, shit, if I'm going to counter this, I got to do something different. I got to do something.
I just want to say it's amazing how that offensive line in Philly went from the biggest strength to the biggest weakness.
Yeah.
And really they lost Kelsey and who was their left tackle?
The one that got hurt. The one that got hurt.
Yeah, he got hurt. What's his name?
Was it Dixon? Was it
Lane Johnson?
Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson. Right. I mean, that offensive line from last year to this year, night and day difference. We got 3 first-rounders on our offensive line. We got to be able to utilize that and have that level of success.
Yeah. And what did we talk about with the Canes? The trenches. Like our offensive line is there. I believe it. Our offensive line is right there. I mean, Booker was a beast, last year. He got better and better. I think BB and obviously, Tyler's, I think Guyton is going to be the one. He's going to have to take another step.
Got to do something with Steele.
Yep. Steele, what are they going to do with Steele if they're going to move on, restructure, whatever? But I think they're there. The defensive line is the key for Dallas, solidifying that, and then also getting the linebackers, and I mean, then the secondary, almost everything. But I think it can be done. And looking at the draft, and we're going to get into some draft shows, so definitely if you guys love draft content, hit that subscribe and like. We're going to be doing some mock drafts. We're going to be bringing in some of the experts to kind of break stuff down. But I was listening to Bobby Belt, and they were kind of going over the perfect scenario for the Cowboys would be to get Downs from Ohio State and get the linebacker from Georgia. He said if that were to happen, you would have 2 impact guys that would basically just change each level of the defense and start. And a lot of people with Downs, they don't know if he's going to be there, but to the point of safeties aren't as valued in the draft, and they tend to slide. I mean, you have some of these safeties slide, but safeties in the first round have seemed to be the safest picks too, if you look through history. But to Jeff's point, if we get curveballs and the Giants go take the Notre Dame running back, well, that's 1 extra spot down. And you've got Bain now, you've got Bailey from Tech, the edge rushers. You're going to start filling those up. And we all know things get a little funky with the quarterback. There's going to be some quarterback darling that comes out of nowhere that is just going to get the excitement of everyone, and someone's going to be desperate for a quarterback. So I'm just saying, it's not out of the realm of possibilities that Downs could fall to them at 12. I don't know if it'll happen, but I don't think it's too far-fetched. I don't know. That may be too early for draft stuff. I don't know, you guys.
I think Cincinnati, I don't see how Cincinnati passes him up. Right.
No.
To me, he has the immeasurables, and if you look at the film, he looks fantastic. I would love for him to drop to us.
But if Cincinnati gets rid or everything with Hendrickson, they're going to need an edge rusher. Wouldn't they be? You look at the Texas Tech, or you look at the Miami.
Texas A&M has one. Yep. So
Bailey.
I mean, look, I would love to have Downs. I've kind of settled in on getting like Sonny Styles from Ohio State. If we end up falling back, I guess C.J. Allen from Georgia.
Georgia.
Yep. Yeah. And truthfully, if we do get a defensive coordinator who wants to go to a 3-4, we're going to be looking at needing essentially 2 inside linebackers. So from that perspective, okay, maybe both of them. And maybe Downs becomes more of a luxury because we have more of a need to really get those inside linebackers on a 3-4. But I think that's why it's so important for us to get that DC in-house, so we can already develop our plans, both from the draft and also from free agency.
Yeah. Well, Stephen Jones hinted at, we're going to be concentrating on defense most, but like we've done in the past, if there's somebody on the offense available, then we may go and grab them. I hope they don't do that in the first round. I really don't, because our offense right now, any offense, no matter how good it is, you can get complementary players. But our most critical need in this first round with that pick should definitely be a defensive player. And you look at how many defensive players out there that are good. And we got at the 19, there's going to be somebody definitely available for us to get, because somebody's going to draft somebody that nobody's even expecting. Teams do that. They draft somebody like, you got these people available, but look who they drafted, because based on their needs. Cincinnati is like us on defense. They need defense bad. And I can see them, whoever is the best defensive player at that time, since they picked before us, they're going to snatch it. But that's one player. So there's several of them out there that are still available. I think Mesidor will be gone before it comes us. Bain will be gone.
I think Mesidor, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if we had a play on Mesidor with our 20th pick.
Yeah. If we try to move up or something like that, but Styles will be gone. I think Downs will be gone. But I still think there's going to be somebody out there at our first pick is going to be a real great pick.
They're gonna be able to get.
It's got to be defense, and if it's not defense, then we're not doing ourselves any justice.
Yeah, and I'd say this too, and Football Fanatic, he had made it's a long comment, so I didn't put that one, but I put this one, the best 5. You know, talk about moving Tyler to left tackle, slide BB over to guard, which is what I said this last year, is put your best 5 out there, you know, and Guyton is a natural right tackle. I like Hoffman. I wouldn't mind Hoffman at center. So I get it, but they'd have to pay Tyler more, right? They just signed him as a guard, which they could do, but I think they've already said they're not gonna move him. But I don't know. But I'm a fan of, if you put your best 5 where they're at. Do you guys have any comments on the O line? Because the concern we have is right tackle, right? That's kind of like our Achilles heel, and there's arguments that you can bring and restructure, steal back. Some say he wasn't as bad as we believe. I mean, and these are guys who watch film and all. I don't do any of this. I'm only going by opinions of like Bobby Belt and what's his name, who's on 105.3. Just listen to him as a Broadus and stuff. You could make an argument if you brought him back to a lower number, he would be okay. He's not Pro Bowl, but you can't have 5 Pro Bowlers across your line. That's nearly impossible. But he could be okay if you went that route. But I mean, what's your thoughts, Jeff, on the offensive line and where they're at today?
No, I agree. Play your best 5, right? Yeah. And even if you re-sign someone as a guard and then for some reason you end up putting them at right tackle, just to save a little bit in terms of money. But I'd probably go in the draft and look to draft a right tackle on this. I don't know. Maybe if we don't have a second, but maybe if we trade back on the 20th pick and we can get a draft in the second or third, because I still think if we don't have the right player there at 20, trade back, get some draft capital, and then get a right tackle there. Like they don't have to be the greatest player, but someone that you think can develop with the other players that you have.
The Miami right tackle would look good on that.
Yeah, I saw a couple people in the comments saying that. So I'm good for. Hey, again, he's from a university that expects to win, and he's used to practicing with and against dogs. So bring him in. I'm good with that.
That's where I say it's. I want to see kids from now. It used to be the Power 5. Now let's just say the Power 4, whatever they want to say. I definitely agree with that. So hey, we're gonna get into a lot of draft, a lot of all that kind of stuff. When the as we get closer and get more into the off season. So definitely hit that subscribe and like if you guys are new to the channel. Again, shout out. We finished with over 5,000. We hit our 5,000 subscriber number. And then in less than a week, we're almost to 5,200. So we've gained 200 subscribers within less than a week. Thank you for the love. Someone's giving me some love.
I got you, dog.
It's all to you guys. So definitely hit that like, subscribe. And some people have asked, some people say, hey, I see this thing join. Well, you can be part of the Cowboys Cave Army. It's just basically a way to support the channel. There's a lot of costs that go into it. I don't ask for anything, but if you are so kind and you wanted to do it, please, you can join the Cowboys Cave Army. I always make sure if you do it, you're going to get something in return. So we did give away some gift cards. I'm going to do more. The other thing is my man, Kevin Gogan, Big Nasty, he sent me about a handful of signed pictures. we'll be giving those away. I don't know, Greg, I was going to say, if you need one for your cave, let me know. I'll send you one. But Big Nasty sent me one. So definitely big thanks to him. And we got other guests and we've had other players on. So I promise you, if you guys do join and you become a member, you're going to get more in monetary stuff than what the $4 or whatever it is it costs a month to be part of it. But all that goes back into the cost of the software, everything that we do to run the channel. So definitely appreciate it. But switching gears. Now, I'm a salesman, so I can always try and sell stuff. So switching gears is today's games. And you've got the Bears, and you've got the Rams, and you've got the Patriots, and you got the Texans. You know, my first observation is I think the Rams are just so up and down. I don't know what the hell to expect from them. Sometimes they look like the best team. Sometimes they look like the worst. The Bears, I've said it since about week 5 or probably after they beat Dallas, maybe week 3 or whatever. They are the Washington Commanders of this season that they were last year for the Commanders. Anything that goes right for them. But eventually the glass slipper is going to fall, and it's probably going to fall pretty hard. Could that be today or could it be next week? I definitely want your all's opinion. And then New England Texans, I'm not a New England believer. It's nothing against them. I think they got a good young team. They played probably the weakest schedule in NFL history for a team. The Texans just look absolutely nasty on defense, and I'm a fan of defense. Some people give Stroud a lot of crap. I was a fan of Stroud, and as much as I hate Ohio State, him coming out of college, I thought he was the best quarterback in the draft coming out for that class. But Greg, I'll let you start with these two games, just your quick observations and maybe where you think they may go. And then Jeff, definitely want to get your input on these as well. And you guys in the chat, we got a lot of go Bears, go Texans, Texas, a lot of Texas love, love. Go ahead.
Well, let me finish up with this real quick. TJ Bass didn't allow any sacks this season, none against us. So he's going to be solid. And then I really think we got to move on with Steele. And then we just compliment somebody. Now, Bears and the Rams. I want to see the Bears win it. I want to see them beat the Rams. They're going to play up in 20-degree temperature outside Soldier Field with that wind. I think it's going to be a little too much for Stafford. I know he's played great, but I think the weather alone is going to be a driving major factor for the Bears beating the Rams today. And I'm rooting for the Bears to win that plus I don't want to see the Rams in it anyway. New England, I have much more respect for New England than what you're saying that you don't believe in them. I really do, because I believe that core, that team, they are on a whole different mental level. And they could easily, as far as I'm concerned, go out and beat the Texans. The Texans got a hell of a defense, but their offense is shaky. It's like rolling the dice. If they get their offense together, and I think they're playing in New England, right?
Yes.
In that weather, if they get their offense together and Stroud stays focused and plays a clean game, then the Texans can win. But New England looks to be the favorite in this, and the way they're playing, they're going to have to make a lot of mistakes to lose this game to the Texans. And whether their defense is the best or not, because it's the offense for the Texans that's going to be the worry about whether they can score and move down the field. And if Stroud is going to have, he's going to replicate what happened in Pittsburgh and then end up losing the game. But do not sleep on New England by any means. So if the Texans win, I will be happy, because that's somebody different. I want to see them move forward. And I definitely want the Bears to beat the Rams, because I don't want the Rams in there. And weather is going to play a role on both of those games. And that's going to be a big advantage for the Bears and New England against those two teams.
What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, so conventional wisdom says Rams should beat the Bears, right?
Yeah.
Cinderella's slipper would fall off. But the fact that it is going to be played in Chicago, that is the only pause that I have on that game. Caleb Williams has shown that he can play, and it doesn't matter how much he's down by. For some reason, they know how to open up that offense and make things happen. Also, I don't think their defense is good, but they force a lot of turnovers, which always puts them in good field position and allows them to get more opportunities on the offensive side of the ball. So I think the running game, they have that two-headed monster with Swift and the rookie. I think I think they're going to be a tough out. Like literally, everything says Rams.
Yeah.
They got the names, they got the coach, they have the pedigree, they've done it before. But you got to go do that. You're not doing it indoors anymore. You got to go outside and play in Chicago. So to me, from a betting perspective, I don't know if I'll even touch this game because
I would.
That's a 50-50 game for me. Now the Patriots and the Texans. I think defensive wise, the Texans are going to give Drake May fits. I think if the offensive line for Houston can hold up, to me, that's been their Achilles heel for the past, 3-4 seasons. If their offensive line can hold up, then I'd see the Texans winning that game. I don't think that C.J. Stroud's going to have 5 fumbles in the game. People were talking about having him under investigation for trying to throw the game against the Steelers because he kept. I mean, I've never heard of 5, but that defense is legit. Now, I don't think Nico Collins is playing, is he?
No. I don't believe their offense is very limited.
Right. And so for me, watching them against Pittsburgh, they would get in the zone where it was like, oh, they just march straight down the field and score. And then they would be they'd be the bad news bears where the quarterback just throwing the ball to the other team, just dropping out of his hand. I want to say the Texans, just because that defense, to me, defense wins championships. This is not championship necessarily, though. So it's going to be a tight game. Nico Collins not playing is going to hurt. I think the Texans are going to have to find a way to manufacture some offense. I think their defense is going to have to get them some turnovers so they have short fields to operate on. But I still think the Texans have the better team. Too bad that Nico Collins won't be there.
Yeah, Kurt's going to have to step up for sure. I mean,
and it's been a couple years since he really has.
Yeah.
Right? It's been like 2-3 seasons since he was actually an impact player. So he's going to have to ball. But I'm still going with the Texans. And in the other game, I'm just hoping it's a good game, right? I don't want to see the Seattle-San Francisco game. I want to see the Broncos-Bills game. I want to see that today. I want to see 2 games of that come down to the fourth quarter. Big-time players show up in big-time moments. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Whether that's offensively, defensively, I don't care. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. And the weird thing of it is this is the weekend. They call this the greatest weekend in football, right? Because you got the divisional games. You also have the championship in college. And typically that is what you're supposed to see, right? What you saw with the Bills and the Broncos is what you see. And then you saw the blowout. And then last week is typically the wild card is where you see these blowouts because there's teams that probably, because of their division, they shouldn't have been there. But you didn't. They were all like really good games except for the last, couple, but some of them were just wild. So it's going to be interesting to see how this does play out. Because
I got a question for you, Mike.
Yeah.
So you look at all these teams. Say the Rams lose, so Stafford's out of it.
Yeah.
That means one of these quarterbacks from this team is going to win a chip from any of the remaining teams. What does that go to say for the Josh Allens and Lamars and Herberts, all these quarterbacks, and truthfully, Dak Prescott?
Yeah, absolutely.
And you and I have talked about it all year long. This field was wide open. The NFL was wide open this season. There was not that one team where it's like, oh, hey, that's a problem. We're not going to be able to beat them. I mean, I feel like Bart Scott, anybody can be beat. Yeah. That's how I feel. And I felt like that all season long. So if the Rams go out and Stafford's no longer in there, Super Bowl champ's going to be a quarterback, never been there before.
Well, and let's think about it. I mean, it could be the argument because I get in this argument with Ultra sometimes, and this would solidify his argument. Stroud's a 1, first-round quarterback. May's a top 5 quarterback. Yep. Caleb Williams, top overall pick. Yep. You end up with Broncos would have been, but let's just say I don't know how you want to count that, and now it's a backup, so that's kind of you got the asterisk with that one. So and then you have the first round pick. Darnold was the number 1 overall pick, right? So you have all first-round picks in the Super Bowl. Really, no matter what happens, that's what you're going to have, right? Because you've got the Rams as well. Stafford was the number 1 overall pick. So there's something to be said with getting a number 1 quarterback, and that's been the knock with the Cowboys is you look at the Cowboys, it was undrafted free agent in Romo, and then you went to a 4th-round quarterback with Dak. They haven't picked a first-round quarterback since Troy Aikman. So does that open the argument of you need a first-round? There's a reason why these guys are first-round quarterbacks? I don't know.
No, so here's the only thing I'm saying about that is Drake May, rookie contract. Yeah. Caleb Williams, rookie contract. If I'm not mistaken,
Stroud should be too, I think.
No, he signed an extension.
Did he? God, he's been in the league that long?
No, he's only making $9 million.
Yeah, I think he's on his he's not at 4 years in, is he? Or 5 years?
No, he might be on the tail end of it.
He's probably close.
End of it. He'll get his bag.
Yeah, so he's only making $9 million. So there you go. That's another one. Rookie contract. So the only person who's not is Stafford.
Yeah.
To me, and Bo Nix, right? For Denver. To me, that is the best, the most opportune time to strike.
Oh, especially that's where Dallas screwed up, right? With Dak. I mean, you had him on making peanuts.
Yes.
And
plus, you can afford all that talent on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball when you have a quarterback that's not making that type of money.
Yeah, you know, and typically our problem has been, even if we didn't get a first-round draft pick, we got Dak. Dak's a great player, but our problem has been in management. So our management isn't like the rest of these management styles with their GMs and all of that, which help mold those number ones all the way from the top to the bottom to get to where they are. We don't have that. We don't have the luxury of having that kind of management. I say if we had that management style that we needed, we would probably be in the ship maybe a couple of times over these 30 years, but we don't have it. So first round pick, second round pick, whatever we get, our management style is going to stay the way it is. So that's going to be a limiting factor for us. Remember, Stafford was with Detroit. Detroit had some good teams like Dak and some Dallas teams. And it wasn't until he left Detroit that he finally had an opportunity to be who Stafford is now. And by leaving Detroit, he will go to the Hall of Fame. And then Darnold was first round draft pick, but everybody looked at him as a bust. And it took some time, some maturity, the right teams, the right staff and organizations to get him where he is now. So it's not necessarily all the time this time all of them in the first round are going to be in, but it's not necessarily the first round draft pick for a quarterback is what you got to really look at to make you successful, because there's more than that. There's a lot of first round.
Absolutely. It's been 30. It's been 89. I don't know how 35 years. Has it been 36 years since the Cowboys drafted a quarterback in the first round?
Yeah, but
36 years.
Said, it's not so much. It's not to me. It's not so much that we haven't drafted a quarterback in the first round, because if we did, the way Jerry managed everything, I don't think it would have made a difference for us anyway.
Well, Troy Aikman got 3 Super Bowls. I mean, I know we want to kill Jerry a lot, but I mean, those are under his ownership. I mean, they're under his ownership.
But Jimmy was part of that management then. Remember now, Jimmy was a heavy influence. And
they were drafting Troy Aikman when Tom Landry was the coach, because Troy Aikman was there when Tom Landry, his last year, Troy Aikman was on the sidelines in Texas Stadium. Troy Aikman was going to be a Dallas Cowboy if whatever his name was, I forgot the old owner's name, whoever the hell he was. If Landry was there, they were drafted Troy Aikman. He was there.
But look what happened to Troy until Jimmy came. Troy was getting his ass whooped. And he got
his ass whooped with Jimmy. He came there Jimmy's first year.
It was his first year. He got killed.
And then Jimmy comes in and brings the rest of the entourage that we needed. But that as long as our management style stays the way it is, that one owner wearing all the hats, we can get first round pick quarterback and all that. I just think he's going to find a way not to make it cohesive as it needs to be. Now, Stafford and the Rams, I always say this. For some reason, when I watch them play, to me, they're boring. Yes, they're out. They got that dynamic team. Everybody's in on it. Puka Nacua is their critical player on offense. It just, when I watch the Rams, it's just boring. But boring doesn't mean anything when it comes to winning. And if they win, they win. The Bears playing in this weather, I'm telling you, the good thing for the Bears and the good thing for New England, both in this playoff, is the fact that both of them are playing in extreme cold temperatures that they're accustomed to playing in, and they're playing at home in those temperatures. And I really think that's going to be the downfall for the Rams. It's going to be the downfall for the Texans, that weather. If you don't put a lot of emphasis on what this weather is going to mean in this game, the talent alone on those other two teams is you're missing out. This weather is going to be a major factor for both of those home teams, which is going to help them, I feel, get to that next level.
Yeah, the thing I would say on weather, and I love that Michael Jackson comment by Winston, because he was a Miami Hurricane. We had him in the 7th round, I think it was, or whatever. We let him walk, and this dude is still starting in the NFL. And that, to your point, 100%, we don't develop our guys good enough.
And look, he was balling for Carolina during that playoff game.
Yeah.
I think Carolina wins if J.C. Horn doesn't get concussed.
Yeah. No, I agree. But the only thing I would say is when it comes to weather, I'm taking defense. So the worse weather it is, the better it is for the Texans. That's just my opinion, but it's just me. But I do agree weather is going to impact it. But I think weather would hurt, believe it or not, to me, it would hurt New England more than it would hurt the Texans. I don't know. You agree, Jeff, or am I wrong?
I think New England should be used to playing in the weather. The Texans, they played indoor
defense
climate, right?
To me is defense mentality. It's like the old when Miami. I always go back to Miami. See, I always go back when it was cold and they'd go up north, and they always say these Miami kids can't do it, which I laugh all the time because most of college football has Miami kids on there. I don't in Michigan, and like they grew up there. Most kids that are playing at Michigan didn't go to Michigan. Most of them are down in South Florida, Georgia, Texas. So they don't know nothing about the cold and its way it is. But I was listening. Channing Crowder gave a story about the cold, and it was Channing Crowder was interviewing Gino Torretta. So let me fix it. So Gino Torretta gave the story. He was up in Minnesota. I never heard of this, so I don't know if anyone in the chat knows this. But who was the great Hall of Fame defensive lineman? He wore always the dark paint.
John Randall.
Yeah. So John Randall they're playing an outdoor game, and Gino Torretta is sitting there, and he said John Randall is putting Vaseline all over his skin. And Gino's like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, this blocks out the cold. This is like the blanket, because we didn't have any money for jackets. So this is how Mom, when it was cold out, Mom would put this all over our skin. So they're not,
we got stock in Vaseline, just so you know, man.
Yeah, we should do. And John Randall was a different creature altogether.
Yes, sir.
But it was funny. But yeah, Channing Crowder had me laughing because then he started asking all sorts of questions. But he said that he goes like in PFF, he goes, man, they did PFF showed that when I was in cold weather game, I only had like 1 assist. And the week before, I had like 12 tackles. I don't like playing in the cold. I don't want any of that. And Gino Torretta's like, dude, when I play, we didn't have none of that. We don't have a PFF. We didn't know what the hell kind of stats you had. You just showed up to play.
Cold is cold.
Cold makes fast. Look, cold makes fast players slower, but cold makes slow players slow. They're already slow. So that's why it's not a neutralizer, but it does bring things to a little bit more of a balanced playing field.
Yeah,
and that field at Soldier Field is a different field than that field in Texas, and it's hard. And whether the Texans defense is up for the challenge, it's the Texans offense that cold is going to affect the most. Those receivers, those running backs, those players, those tight ends, they ain't gonna want to get hit and fall hard on that.
Any of them cold fields up north. Yeah, it's like
it's gonna. I'm telling you,
it's gonna be.
The Bears are lucky. They are lucky that they're playing at home for this game. Because if they played this in Los Angeles, I don't think they got a chance. I don't think they got a chance.
They're losing by 3 touchdowns.
They're playing in Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the Rams had opportunity during the season. Like I said, they're Jekyll and Hyde. They lost some bad games, and then they won some games. They're like, I don't know if they'll win. And so you just don't know what Rams team is going to show up. So it's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a great day of football. I am going to leave with this. Let me just move something over. Where the hell am I? Yeah, sorry. I forgot my mouse at work, and now I'm still trying to deal with it. But let's move this back over. Definitely appreciate everyone hanging with us, hour and a half. But we're going to finish it up with Miami. And I told you guys, I went down to Miami. I went, my son and I got up early, woke up at 5:30, hit the road by, or 5:15, hit the road by 5:30, drove down there, did all the festivities, headed back home. I was home before halftime of the Bills game, so I was able to catch most of that. So one of the things I was talking about was the most annoying things. My son had no idea about this, but it was annoying to me. I wanted to rip his head off. So I am driving back, and I drove the whole way. He didn't offer to drive. Now, he's 21. He's capable of helping the old man drive a little bit, but that's fine. I like driving, so I didn't have an issue with it. So I like listening to either listen to music, listen to sports talk, listen to something, my mind I go in this zone and I kind of go on my way. And this little bastard is playing the Miami Hurricane basketball game on, and he has it like 2 feet from his face on his phone, full blast. And all it is right in the side of my ear. So I'm trying to listen to what I'm trying to listen to and get in my driving zone. And it's piercing my ear over and over. And it just drove me absolutely insane. And I said this to when we had dinner, like when we got back, and I was telling the story to my wife and a couple friends, and he's like, "You didn't say nothing to me." I said, "Well, I mean, what am I going to do?" I said, "I'm just driving," but it was the most annoying thing. Does that bother you guys? Like, did your kids do that? Did they sit there and play their music? I know you don't have kids, but any friends, anybody that play their music, like, and you're playing whoever's driving controls the sound in the car.
I just you put your headphones on. I would turn it up full blast. They'll get the message.
No. Hey, earbuds.
Yes.
Like, you can't have the earbuds on but so loud. Like, if I can hear your music over the music that's playing on the radio because you have your earbud, hey, just turn that down. Yeah. We're not doing that. And what's bad is I used to get mad when my parents used to do that. When I had a Walkman, I had my headphones, and my mom would be like, "Turn that down. I can hear it over top." Man, I'm just like my parents. Same thing. You can't do that. You can't do that. No.
Wait. Drove me nuts. But we had a great time. The only thing I just was mad about, we got there early, and I wish I just would have just done it and when I saw it, but they had this WWF or WWE, sorry, I'm older, entrance, and they had the smoke, and you could come through and they videotape you. And I wanted to do it right away, and my son was like, they had the press, so we walked away, and then when I came back, the line was so damn long that I didn't do it. But it was just such a great time. If any of you guys are down in Miami, it's free. It's at the Miami Convention Center. It was just, they had all the trophies there. They had players, or Dan Marino was there today, which really irks me because Dan Marino was the guy back in the day, but he's there signing autographs and taking pictures with fans and stuff. So it is a really good time. So we had a lot of fun, but the vibe is there. And I'm just telling you, I don't know, Jeff. I know the way Greg feels. I don't know if you're swaying your decision either way. One, everyone in the world is still trying to understand how Miami is an 8.5 dog, but they said most of the money is coming in for Indiana, which that's gonna kind of play with the line a little bit. A lot of people are betting on Indiana to win. But what do you think, Jeff? And then I'm going to let Greg give the final breakdown, because Monday, no show I'm watching. Tuesday, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do a show. I got a couple things work-wise that might be coming up. My wife's birthday is on Tuesday, so I got a lot of different things. So we're going to figure it out. So I don't want people thinking I'm hiding if, God forbid, Miami loses, or that I'm in some drunken binge if they win. I am going to be fine. I'm not that way. The sun comes up, win or lose, my life goes on, but I sure hope the hell they win. But Jeff, what are you thinking of this game? How do you see it? Have you changed your mind any since we've spoken last?
Man. So first, Monday halftime, you should get on. Right? Monday halftime, you should get on. That way we can all see how you doing. And if things are going well, yeah. If things aren't going well, you know what? We're here for you, right? So, no, I'm just excited about the game. Like I was probably more Indiana beforehand. As the week has progressed, I'm thinking about the size, the speed, and the home field advantage. Like, to your point, and I mentioned this last week, you're lucky if there's 20% of the fans that are going to be Indiana. They're going to get drowned out by the Miami fans. You couple that with some big plays and some big players, and there's going to be the energy because Irvin's going to be there. Ray Lewis is going to be there. The old crew is going to be out. Man, I will say this: if Indiana doesn't start off well, and Miami has a couple big plays, that roof may come off because they have the dogs, they have the horses. That could be a problem. That really could be a problem for Indiana. There's something to say for Indiana's average team and the age of the players that play being 23 years old, though.
Yeah.
So again, this is styles make fights. I'm just interested to see which style is going to win this fight. So probably the most excited I've been for a national championship game and for quite some time. So again, I don't have a stake in the game. I just want to see a good game. I want to see some big plays. I want to see some big hits. And then whoever wins. I'm good with that.
Well, and interesting, and get Greg's take on it too. Herb Street, I was listening on my way down as I'm listening to different podcasts and, for the game. He said it's just really funny. And Herb Street is one of the main reasons, really, Miami. He was the one who kind of went on TV. Is like, what is wrong with, you guys want to be a football program or not? So he's always been a Miami fan, even when he played. Like he said, I grew up in that Miami era when they were just so dominant. And he said it's just amazing where we're at today, where we're making an argument. We're trying to make an argument for Miami to win against Indiana at home.
In football. It's not basketball. It's football.
But it shows what NIL, it shows what the transfer portal does, and it shows, like you said, Jeff, it's the thought of Indiana is I'm going to take mature players, older players, every way you want to call it, that got experience in college football, and I'm going to just bank on that experience to get the job done. Don't worry about the stars. I want experience and guys buying into the system, and that's what it is, maturity. They don't make a lot of mental mistakes. They're very disciplined, and they just play very well together. And obviously, you get Mendoza from California. He's a South Florida kid, but you get the quarterback in. So it's not going to be an easy match for Miami. I'm a believer in. I grew up in South Florida, and I know the mentality of South Florida. I know the kids of South Florida. I know the pride. I'm just telling you, the pride of Miami for their football team when they're winning, it just was cemented me again when I drove down there. And it's everywhere I went. Drove through Overtown to get to the Miami Beach Convention Center. I drove outside Liberty City. You drove through Miami Beach. You drove through Coral Gables. You went up to Broward County, and it's Canes everywhere. And they're a small school. They're in the middle of a big city. When they're not doing well, no one's going to show up. But when they're doing well, the bandwagon is full. They just take that pride in that and being part of it. So it is really good to see again. So that is, to me, one of the X factors, because people say, well, they give out the tickets. Well, let me give you a tip. They give tickets to season ticket holders, can buy up to 4 tickets. Now, a lot of what you're seeing being sold is season ticket holders getting those extra tickets. The other thing that they're doing, and I was going to do it, but there was no guarantee. If you bought season tickets for 2026, you had the opportunity to buy 2 championship tickets. So that's where I'm saying is there's a lot of tickets getting funneled. Maybe it's shady, maybe it's, but Miami, that just goes with it. There's a reason behind it, but that's what they're doing. So I'm going to be shocked if it's not a predominant Miami Hurricane crowd. If it isn't, that means the Canes did what other teams do and they sold off all their tickets. But the way the pricing is, I don't. Yeah, it's going to be hard.
What color are y'all wearing?
I
White.
think they're wearing white.
White.
Yeah, they're sticking with it. Yeah, they're gonna keep that same flow for the whole thing. You know, Cristobal. And one thing I like about what Miami is doing this time versus the other championships we had, Miami's not talking a lot. You know, because we were known for the trash talking, and that burnt us with Penn State and somebody else we play. I forgot who it was. And Notre Dame.
Nebraska, I know it did.
Yeah, but Miami's not talking. They and them aren't saying anything. They're letting everybody else talk. They're focused on business. People in Miami
don't like that.
Yeah, but people in Miami don't
talk on the field.
People in Miami know that this comes around like a comet. They don't want to miss this opportunity. That's why they're going to pack that stadium. They want to be able to say, I was there, because if we don't get there again, they were there for this after so long of being there in this situation. So Miami's going to pack it. Miami is going to come out fast and furious. And as long as Beck continues to play a clean game like he's playing, I expect us to win. And this Cinderella story is more so on Indiana than it is us. And stop them. Saban said before we even got picked to get in the CFP, if Miami gets in it, they're going to be dangerous. I remember the College Game Day about 2.5 years ago when Herb Street had his long revelation about Miami, the program, all the way from the president down in Miami. And if you want to play football, if you want this program, blah, blah, he set the tone back then. And immediately after that, I think the next year is when I think Cristobal came in. Cristobal heard it too, just like everybody else. He had a strong desire to come back to Miami. That, I know that played a role in it. Those players are destined. They're destined for success in this championship game. I know Indiana is great. Indiana's big. Indiana's disciplined. But this will not be a Hoosier story like the old basketball Hoosier story from way back. This will end in Hard Rock. We will win this. I have my spot on Navarre Bridge to take my flag. And I'm telling you, Miami is not afraid. They're not timid. They're playing at home. They are ready, and they are hyped. And Cristobal will not make those mistakes late in the game in coaching like he's done in the past. This is his shining moment, and we're going to pull this out.
So can I add one thing? Because I said this last week, and I just want to reiterate this. To me, this game comes down to Beck. He can't be a game manager in this game. He's going to have to outplay Mendoza. And what I really want to see from that is he able to throw the ball on time and get the ball to the playmakers? Yeah. Because if he throws for $170, y'all not going to win. I mean, y'all got a dog at running back, but he's going to have to throw. If he gets the ball to the playmakers, Malachi and your other receivers,
Daniel, you got a bunch.
Right?
Yeah, the freshman,
they're going to get the yak yards. He's got to throw for 250, probably over 275. If he throws for that, I think that's going to be a problem. But he can't be a game manager this game. Or his stats can't be pedestrian this game.
Jeff, the key for our success, believe it or not, is not going to be through Beck. It's going to be the pressure we put on Mendoza. If Mendoza is allowed to sit back there and just throw all day long, because he is precise, he can throw through a window and hit a mosquito. If he is able to sit back there and throw that ball, we're in trouble no matter what Beck does. But if we put the pressure on Mendoza, he's not as mobile. I'm not saying he's not mobile. He's not as mobile as the previous quarterbacks we've played in this CFP.
Sure.
We put that pressure on Mendoza, we are going to force mistakes. We're going to force them to give us the ball back. And our offense will drive down that field and do what needs to be done. My biggest watch is not going to be so much on what Beck does, Fletcher does, Malachi. My biggest watch is going to be what kind of pressure we put on Mendoza. Because if I see us putting pressure on Mendoza and forcing him to get that ball out quick, and Mendoza's playing have to play a different style than he's played so far, I know we got it. But if I don't see that, I don't care what Beck does, we're in trouble. So
Beck's got to throw on time.
I would just like the whole. I don't understand the whole Beck. Like, there's just so much like back, and he's been fine in Miami. I mean, the two games, I was at the SMU game. I'm not going to rehash the whole thing. The LSU game was a bad game. Yeah. Two of the picks were in the hands of the receivers that bounced right out of their hands, and they end up getting picked. He's undefeated as a starter, as an underdog. I mean, that's number one. Miami is 7-0 this year against ranked teams when at the time they played them. Let's just be fair with that. I don't think if they lose, it's just going to be Indiana's a better team. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I think Miami's going to play their best. I think Indiana is going to play their best, and we're going to find out who's going to win, because Mendoza is a great quarterback, but he hasn't seen the pressure that he's going to see in the defensive line that he sees from Miami. The secondary is going to hit. I mean, I think I always know them all by their numbers, but number 8, he's going to hit somebody. He's going to hit them hard. And we're going to see what happens when you get punched in the mouth. And that's just what's going to happen. And it's going to be a great game. To your point, Jeff, I'm not like this fan that's going to say we're going to beat the hell out of them and it's going to, we're going to be, all this and that. Indiana's damn good. It's going to be, I think the interesting point of it is what you said, Jeff. These guys, they're men. They're 23 years old. I mean, it's going to be Miami's 18, 19-year-olds. Now, they got some older kids on their team, and Doza's older, and Scott's older, but not most of their team. I mean, Beck's older. I mean, shit, Beck's record is like somewhat NFL guys would love their record to be. But I think it's going to really come down to that. And I would say this, Miami is business, and I think it's good. Like I said, the mentality and what I saw from them at the media day. And then Indiana looked like they were happy to be there. And they gave Miami bulletin board material because they made a video where they were kind of, I guess you want to say, making fun of Beck's looks. There's always that joke because of his eyes. And they made a video where their eyes get separated drastically, and it got put all over social media. I don't really notice it with him, but my eyes are kind of, they're not close together. So maybe I'm defending my man, but I don't know. They gave Miami some fuel, but Miami is going to be ready, man. I just can't wait.
But hold on. Miami does not go that. I don't like the whole business style. That's not the Miami way. You talk about it, you be about it. Look,
they will on the field.
I'm going to whoop you on. I'm going to tell you leading up to it, I'm going to whoop you on Monday, and when we get on the field, I'm going to whoop you.
Yeah.
Right? I don't like the...
And in the parking lot, I'm going to whoop you.
I'm going to whoop you again. Ask Florida.
I understand that.
Ask Florida.
I understand that's what you want, but
that's what I want.
Crystal Ball wants these guys emotionally to stay focused. Because when you start talking, talking like that a lot of times, now you get in the game and those emotions kind of come out, and you can get all kind of penalties and everything. But
Miami teams of the past.
That's the past.
They talked it. I'm just saying. And I'm just talking about, as a neutral fan, what I wanted to see. Mm-hmm. Fans of the past, or teams of the past, they would talk that. But when they got in the field, they knew they had to back it up, and that's what they did.
Yeah.
Right? So I love that. I want to hear that talk. And we not choking. Yeah. Oh, we backing this up. You're going to have to buckle that chin strap real tight when you know you're going to play us. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to hear.
I love the way they're handling this because they are focused on business. They don't want to, they're not concerned about entertaining anybody. They're not concerned about trying to put bulletin board material up there. These guys are zoned in. Miami's zoned in. All they want to do is play football and win this.
Yeah, that's no fun.
That's
no fun for me.
I feel you.
That's great for y'all. And look, that's awesome for y'all. But for the neutral fan, I want that. I want to hear that talk.
Well, you're not going to hear that, but you're going to get plenty of it.
I know.
When we win the national championship, it's going to be plenty of it when we win the national championship. But Miami, I love their stance. in how they're handling this, because every team we played talk smack. Bane, they'd interview Bane. Bane's like, well, we're just going to go out there and we're going to play ball. I like that because these guys, that tells me they're focused on
I'm not saying that's not the way to go.
And winning.
I'm with you, Greg. I'm not saying that's not the way.
I understand what you're saying.
Because for any team that wasn't the Miami, wasn't the U, I'd probably be like, yo, that's exactly like Indiana. That's how y'all need. I'm just happy to be here. They're a tough team and we're going to try to put our best foot forward. That's what I expect from Indiana. I don't expect that from the U.
Yeah,
I don't expect that from the U.
That's our tradition. I understand that. But like I said, my biggest concern when I'm watching this game is going to be what pressure we put on Mendoza. And I'm telling you, if we get that pressure on Mendoza, that is the key. The key to us winning this game is getting that pressure on Mendoza like he hasn't felt before. And if we get that on it, it's going to make them have to drastically change. Now, also on offense, the offensive person that I'm most concerned about doesn't even get on the field. It's Shannon Dawson, the play caller. That's who I'm concerned about. And if in the season's over, win or lose, if we get rid of Shannon Dawson next year, it will not break my heart whatsoever. Because Shannon Dawson sometimes—
I don't want to do that. Let's slow down on that one.
I'm about to say, tell us how you really feel. What happened
on the
there?
sideline, Shannon Dawson looks like a deer looking in headlights.
But y'all in the chip.
He's had a top offense the last 2 years, man.
Yeah,
but
what am I missing?
I think Beck's maturity kind of tempers some of that in his decision-making out there when he's calling. He might be calling some audibles too. But that pressure we put on Mendoza is going to be key. And it's going to show scouts and everybody else, even though he's probably going to be the first pick, it's going to show scouts. When he gets pressure on him, he's a different animal. Yep. So we're going to see. We're going to see. We're going to see what that— if we put pressure on him, oh my God.
And interesting for what it's worth, our defensive coordinator was on Cignetti's staff. I think James Madison. Is that where he came from?
JMU. Yep.
Yeah. He was there. And the defensive coordinator for Indiana, they're best friends and they're best men in the wedding. So I always find that interesting, when you have that. You saw what happened with Seattle and San Francisco. You have two brothers that are offensive coordinators for either team. I don't understand how that dynamic can work because they say, yeah, we don't really say much.
No, you don't talk.
No, you don't.
You don't talk.
I wouldn't talk to my brother.
No, hey, leading up to that, hey, nothing.
Nope.
Nothing.
I know my brothers.
I'm going to call mom and dad and talk to them, and you can call mom and dad and talk to them, but we not talking to mom and dad at the same time, and we're not talking.
Nope.
I don't even talk to my brother leading up when Dallas plays Green Bay. We don't talk the whole week. And we don't talk for the next couple of days afterwards because one of us is licking our wounds.
Yeah.
No.
And what happens with a tie? Do you talk to each other right afterwards out of a tie?
It was a couple hours afterwards, and we was like, because that game was late.
Yeah,
that game was late, and so we text real quick, like, really, and then we didn't really talk about it until the next day. But
that was the only tie I've ever been a part of as a Cowboys fan I can remember, and it definitely was the oddest feeling.
Wasn't it?
Walking out of that stadium, it was just like, man, what do you do? It's like you don't cheer, but you're not upset. It's like you're just kind of like numb to the whole thing.
Yep. I was kind of like, I don't know how to feel about that. But yeah, we just text like, really? And it was like, LOL, and that was that. But there's no way they can talk leading up to the game. There's no way.
I am itching at getting my flag and going up on that bridge. I am itching.
You know what? Y'all my people. I hope for y'all that the U goes out and represents. I hope for y'all that's what happens.
And I really do.
I really do. And I got to pull for the ACC.
Yeah. No, absolutely. It would be good. I think it's great for college football because you don't have the same teams in there, and it showed a lot. And it's going to, whichever team wins better be Miami.
But see, but that concerns me what you just said though.
What?
What's great for college football? You don't think they will? I'm hoping that the refs aren't just.
I didn't want to say it.
Okay, I'm just saying because Oh man, Indiana won in college football. Woo.
But I think
what
either
a story
one
that is.
But I think either one's a story. I think either one's a story, don't you think? Because Miami hasn't been there in 20 years.
Yeah, but see, Miami, the expectation is for Miami to be in there year in, year out. There was never an expectation for Indiana. So this is like we talked about before with that whole Cinderella slipper thing, which I think is not fair because Indiana past 2 seasons probably has better record than anybody else in the country.
Yeah, they do.
But it's a level. It's about expectations. Yeah. If Indiana had gone 500, no one would matter. It wouldn't matter. Nobody would have cared. Yeah. But the expectation for Miami is always to be a player, is always to win the ACC or get close to it, but it's always to get into the national championship hunt. Yeah. So I think it's about expectations.
It'll be interesting. Let me ask you. Go ahead.
I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to bring up the refs because I got a crawl about that in that last game on that targeting against us that wasn't targeting, and then our guy got hit in the head with a helmet like somebody was a torpedo, and they didn't call targeting. And I know I've been hearing lately about all these basketball players getting caught up in gambling and all this other mess, and I'm sitting here remember the Ohio State referee. And now I'm thinking about this, and these refs are human just like everybody else. I don't know what they're being offered. I don't want us to have to get down to a point where it comes to the refs because I don't trust them, and I don't know what they're doing. And if it comes down to that, I feel the refs may try to pull something to make that Indiana Cinderella story the way it is. But I didn't want to bring it up because I don't want to have to deal with the fact that the refs had a decision in this game. I hope we make sure whatever we do, we don't give them an opportunity to have to be the reason.
You never want it in their hands. Let me wrap it up with one quick thing. My son and I, during you drive for 8 hours, you have conversations. So he got me thinking because he said this. I'm like, yeah, no. Other Miami teams were greater, this or that. But then I didn't really understand what he was saying. So when I listened to what he was saying, he makes a very valid point. And I would say this, could this be for any sport? If Miami were to win the national championship, would this been the greatest playoff run in sports history? When you look at Miami, beat A&M on the road, beat Ohio State, beat Ole Miss, and then beat Indiana, they'd have to win all 4 of those games. Could you make the argument that's the greatest run in sports history?
In sports history, no.
Sports history. Who would off the top of your head, who would be better?
I would say in sports history, I would say the hockey game against the Russians back in the 80s would be one of the greatest stories.
Well, that was the Olympics.
Yeah, you said sport. You said sports history.
I said playoff run.
You said college history.
All right. Well, if you do sports moments, I could say.
No, I think
in the college playoff history, I would say yes. This would be the best in the college.
Well, this hasn't been long enough, but a 10th seed. So just to put it in perspective, the 10th seed beats the 7th seed, beats the 2 seed, beats the 6 seed, beats the 1 seed, all in a row.
Yeah, I don't know because the sports history goes way back, even before you and I were born. But in our lifetime, I don't know. It would rank.
I mean, you have to put some thought into it, but I'm just off the top of my head, like I'm thinking the NFL.
You got 1985 Villanova when they beat Georgetown in college basketball.
Yeah.
You got NC State when they won. I think they were a 12 seed.
Yeah, basketball makes it tough because
so that's what I'm saying. If it's football, that's one thing.
March Madness.
Yeah, March Madness. There's so many people that have made a run, and it's like I can't believe they're there. So
no, that's a good point.
But if you talk about football, just because
NFL, football, maybe even basketball, like when you look at like they do the rounds.
Well, okay, I would say the Giants is one.
Yeah.
When we had Parcells and we were 13-3, and they beat us, and then went on to beat the Patriots. Because they were bottom seed.
Yeah,
they made it. They were a wild card team, and they made a run, and so that was a run.
And then come back and beat them again.
Yep.
You guys got shit on my Canes. I'm trying to end on a high note. You guys are fucking grasping its straws here.
But in Canes history, it may very well be the greatest.
Well, the playoffs, like they never had, like you never had to go through a gauntlet,
right?
Because
this is different.
This is
we're the only
different.
team.
It's only a few years in.
We're the only team in this playoff season this year. We're the only team that went through the gauntlet that we went through. No other team in this playoff scenario this year went through a gauntlet close to what we went through. From
Alabama did beat 5 ranked teams, I think.
No, I'm talking about in this playoff this year.
Alabama was in there
this year. Nobody had the toughest.
Oh, you're talking about
the toughest playoff run than we did. Nobody had the toughest playoff run than we did. And for us to be on the cusp of the NCAA commission not even wanting to put us in it, and then we fall to the toughest bracket in this bracket, that lines up in sports history. Got to be
and two, it's interesting. Like they have this. They were on the road. I think their last 2 games or 2 or whatever it was at the end of the season, and then it was road against A&M, road against Ohio State, road against Ole Miss, and then they finally the championship
home for the chip. Home. That's crazy.
You couldn't script a better story if you're a Miami fan, just kind of the way everything kind of played out. But it's going to be a great game, and I'm biased. I want Miami to win. I think they're going to win. I'm praying they're going to win. I need this championship to, it's been a while, so I'd love to have it. And like I said, I bought some stuff, but I've saved my money to buy. I want championship gear. I need championship gear. So it's going to be good. But definitely thank you all in the chat, man. It was very interactive. I finally got rid of what's his name. It was the last straw for me.
I didn't see what he said, but he was gone early.
It was just, it's not what you say. It's just flooding it with negativity. And like, we're talking about Josh Allen, we're talking about everything else. And you bring up Dak, or you bring up you just bring up things that aren't even part of the discussion. You bring no value to anything. So
who's that, Carl?
I am done.
Yeah,
I'm done with
early.
I'm done with
like
it. I don't need that shit. I mean, it's just weird. Like I said, Bobby was in here and Bobby brought up, points about Josh Allen, points about Seattle, points about this. If you're a fan of it's not that we don't want people from other teams, but if you're just going to flood it with just negativity on Dak and on the Cowboys the whole show, it's why you watching. So I make it easy for you. Now you don't have to.
That's why he did that, because the Eagles got their behind whooped.
Yeah, but see, the whole point of this.
He used this to vent his frustration.
But we're all fans, right? We're
Yeah.
all fans.
Yeah.
So there's no difference between us talking like this, meeting at a bar, sitting down talking. We're talking sports. And the whole reason why we have the comments is so that people can chime in and give their thoughts too, because a lot of times we'll segue into something that was said in the comments. So but be fair, right?
Well,
you can have a team, you can have shades that color your team, but at some point you got to bring it back in, be fair about it, and let's have a meaningful conversation.
I wouldn't go to an Eagles page and just talk smack all day. You got to be logical about it.
Fact.
Have some banter, but at the same time,
that's what it's for.
Have respect, and then talk about the essence of the game instead of coming out. But Carl probably today was his unloading day, because they have to sit your ass down room right now.
That's right.
So he had nowhere else to go but here. And then he got kicked off. So that's even worse for him to go sit your ass down. And what I should have done, I should have got my 5 replica Miami Hurricane rings and flashed them up. And then on this one, put the 5 replica Dallas Cowboy rings I got and flashed them up and said, when you catch up, then you can talk up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So I just leave it at that, but it's fine. I just it just kind of gets old. So anyway, definitely appreciate everyone who hung out with us. We're over 2 hours, so I apologize if I kept any of you two, Jeff or Greg, late. But a lot of stuff to uncover, a lot of football. This is that big weekend. It's going to be championship weekend. We will be back next Sunday. Again, the shows going into the off season, there may be some scheduling tweaks, but I'll be doing some short videos. We'll be doing a lot of draft stuff, getting draft people in. We're going to be getting back to some of the interviews that we've done with former Cowboy players, maybe get some Canes in here if they win, call up some old Canes to get back in there and celebrate a little bit. So it's going to be a great time. So definitely hit the subscribe, hit that thumbs up on your way out. Appreciate all of it. And it was an interception. Yes. I don't know if Jeff put that. It definitely was. So we'll see you guys, but definitely appreciate it. Have a great Sunday. It's raining. I think I hear stuff outside in Tampa. So cold fronts are coming. It's going to be coming, but the category 5, Greg, is coming to South Florida. Indiana better be ready for it.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.